Welcome to Zeta Protocol, the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast that's 57% more dramatic than a Genosian in slow motion and only slightly less intense than Russell Crowe yelling at a confused crowd of stormtroopers. I'm Egnards, joined by Pico, the arena agitator burrito, and tonight, the holotables fall into a state of disarray. A brand new enforcer stalks the battlefield with the cold precision of a droid built for demolition, and a fresh game mode throws us into a sandpit full of rules, restrictions, and reward tables that crunch the crystal economy harder than a Rancor on cheat day. It's ambitious, it's strange, it's tighter than a Jawa's grip on a Goodwill price tag, and somewhere beneath the armor and spreadsheets, we're left wondering what the future of this galaxy really looks like. So dust off your gear, brace for the crowd's roar, and step into the arena before CG hires Zack Snyder to drop a director's cut none of us are ready for. I gotta say, Pico, I enjoy patch days. I enjoy days where something happens in the game. And I think the reason why is we kind of ignore each other when nothing else is going on, right? I don't talk to you for like a week and a half, and then something happens in the game, and our DMs are just like we're sliding into each other's, and we've got all of these notes and things going on, and it just feels right. It feels weird to be recording a day earlier than we usually do, but it feels right that I get to talk to you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, but look, I'm salty tonight. I'm salty because it's hate week. It
Okay.
is hate week, and this may resonate for some folks. It absolutely does for Phil. All right, but on Saturday of this week, the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to get on a bus. They're going to go up to Ann Arbor, and they are going to ground the Michigan Wolverines into dust. All right. I will tell you that I do not give a damn about the whole state of Michigan, the whole state of Michigan, the whole state of Michigan. All right. That is where the focus needs to be right now on making sure that the world is set right and those Wolverines are crying by 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. All right.
I gotta tell you, man, you said hate week, and in my head, my first thought was, I thought we called it Hell Week. Is it different now? Did I not get the memo? I know
Yeah.
Conquest is going on. I know TB is going on. Did we change something? Do I not know about this? I'm gunning for you. I'm not a college football guy myself.
Yeah.
I'm just getting into football. So look, I can say, great. I hope Ohio State wins and that you get what you want there. That's all I can say. I was ready to go on a whole tirade about TB and we just got a new guild member who she calls herself a TB whore. She's like, oh, I'm a wave count whore.
Okay.
Like I do this. Like I'm done. And I said, no, I have to do phase one today. I have to do phase one for the first time in 6 months because I need
Yeah.
to stay on
Yeah.
top. Um, so this is the first hell week in a very long time that I have had to actually put in effort for the first 2 days of TB. And I'm feeling it because it takes a lot of time. So that's where my mind went.
No, no. Yeah, it is the for people in certain areas of the country. And again, I know you're not a college football fan, and I'll make that this is the week after Thanksgiving is when all of the big rivalry games happen. So Auburn and Alabama will play this week. Not Texas and Oklahoma; they play earlier in the week. But this is the border war. This has been going on for decades, and it's particularly great for me because well, I was born in Michigan and I got smart and moved south to Ohio. Most of my family is there, so this has been 25, 30 years of just kind of running mouths with each other for through holidays and things like that. So it's
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 a
great. I'm
real,
just I'm looking forward to it. So,
that's a real rivalry. Like not even the
yes,
football
yes,
teams,
yeah.
especially just going into the families. I can see. Are you visiting these people? Are they visiting you, or is it just like we're going to be texting each other on that
Oh,
Saturday? And
so this year, to give you a sense of what this is. So my brother, I have a brother who's a year younger than I am.
Okay.
We both grew up in Toledo, just over the border in Ohio, and we have 7 other cousins that are all within 3 years of us from an age perspective.
Okay.
And what will start up on Thanksgiving Day, we won't be seeing them this year, but what will start up on Thanksgiving Day is likely from the oldest cousin. The first text message to Granny's group will go out. My grandmother passed away years ago, and it will be something to the effect of, "Do you think that Ohio State's going to ruin their season by losing to Michigan?" Like that will likely be the first shot that's fired across the
Okay.
bow, and this will start for a good 3 or 4 days, and then everyone will we won't hear from anyone until Christmas, and everyone will say Merry Christmas. But yeah, it will start in earnest probably Thanksgiving.
Now, is it one of those text
So.
messages where everyone is it's understood like, all right, we have to wait for the oldest cousin. We have to wait for this specific person. No one else is allowed to talk until that person fires the first shot.
No, he's just the one that always seems to be up first thing in the morning and
Okay.
just starts running with it at that point. The fun part is like what this thread has turned into is all the cousins and the spouses, and some of the spouses don't get it. Like
Yeah.
the college football thing wasn't part of. So it's just like my wife will tell you, she's like, it's the day that I remember to put that thread on mute, type thing. But I went to Ohio State. I have a cousin who went to Michigan, so he and I are kind of probably the biggest of the two. But yeah, it's just it's family. I mean, there's
I
nothing
get it.
better than family just harassing family. So
Of course. Of course. I mean, personally, myself, my family is a little bit more disconnected, but my friend group is really my family, and it's the same
sure,
thing. And I've said this a million times that my love language, right? There's like physical touch, there's gift giving, gift receiving, words of affirmation. My love language is hate.
yeah,
It's if I really truly love you, I am going to say the meanest possible things to you at any given time. I am going to pick up the phone and be like, "Hey fuckface, how's it going? You piece of
yeah,
shit."
yeah.
And that's just how I show my love, and that's how we are in our text chains, our group chats when we see each other. So I completely understand that.
So I am looking forward to Thursday. We're traveling to see my wife's family in St. Louis, and I have a niece that I am expecting to tell me that she will be going to the University of Michigan in the fall. She has no ties to the state. Like this is just
Mhm.
she's a very bright girl, and look. The only nice thing that I will say is that the University of Michigan is a very good school. They're arrogant assholes because they call it the Harvard of the Midwest, but it's a really good school. But I expect that she's going to tell me this, and I've been told she's very anxious and nervous about this. And I'm going to share with her very simply that I hope that she has the same experience in college that I had.
Yeah.
And if she asks me what that experience is, I will be that my team lost 3 of the 4 years while I was there because I want Michigan to lose 3 of the 4 years while she's there. Like that's the experience that I want to share with
That's
her.
good.
So
You're thinking all
yes,
positive things, but no, you're just hitting
yes.
her with that 1-2 punch. I get it. Um, we're actually hosting Thanksgiving for the first time ever.
Oh, awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
so that's going to be interesting. We've always had this dining room table with no chairs. We kind of just used it to place things on, and so we couldn't host ever. Like my in-laws, if they wanted to come over, would bring fold-out chairs.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
just got a new dining set. We got new chairs. We got a whole new thing. So we're very excited. I'm very excited that I don't have to travel. That I
yeah.
can do everything right from my own house. So I'm stoked for that on Thursday.
So are you guys making the turkey as well, or do you have an older family member that's coming over and they're gonna do the hard lifting?
So I don't I don't know how much because my family is very far. They're very dispersed. My parents
Okay,
passed away a long time ago. My grandparents, whatever. So I don't have that. It is my in-laws. It's that side of the family. My wife and her mom communicated most of what's going on. So I don't know what the
sure.
exact distribution of work is going to be. I do know that I came home today and there was a pile of ingredients just stacked
Yeah,
on our kitchen counters. I do know that we have a considerable amount that we have to make. I know that my mother-in-law is bringing the turkey. That's all I know.
okay.
I don't have to worry about right now. And I know that I am
Yeah.
going to be put to work and I don't get to sit on the couch and watch football all day. That's really all I'm aware of.
Yeah. I would rather take on all of the sides and everything else and making that
Yeah,
outside of the turkey because that just feels like it. And I for the last couple of years, I every other year I tend to smoke a turkey, but I just get so overly stressed about that piece coming out poorly.
it's the
Like everything
centerpiece.
else, you can't screw up mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
You can't screw up corn and green beans and stuffing and that stuff.
Now,
So
I have a
turkey
couple
though,
important
it's what I don't
questions.
forget. Yeah.
Number one, mashed potatoes, skins or no skins?
So in my family, you leave the skins on because that makes them gourmet, or as
Okay.
we like to call them, lazy.
So, all right, we see it eye to eye there. I actually
Yeah.
like it. I like the texture of it. I don't like
Yeah.
things that are ultra creamy, so I like the texture of the
Okay.
skins on potatoes. I'm sure it started as a child with my mom being lazy, and just not wanting to take
Yeah.
those off. And then the other question is, real cranberry sauce or fake cranberry sauce?
Oh, so normally I like the fake cranberry sauce, but I have an aunt who is a phenomenal cook, and she will make cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
That is all that I will eat on Thanksgiving. It is so good. But like it is like way over here, and then otherwise it's like no. I want it in the can shape
Yes.
on the table that you're cutting it with a knife.
And
So
normally homemade is way better, but for me personally, that canned stuff is
yeah,
too good to be true. We used to
yeah,
go upstate to see my brother-in-law, not my brother-in-law, my brother, and my sister-in-law would make the homemade cranberry sauce, and it was
yeah,
very good. But I felt bad every year because I was like, this is great, but this is the fake stuff, and it's you can't compare to the fake stuff.
yeah,
So I don't even know why you bother trying.
yeah. I the big thing for me, mashed potatoes. My wife, my mother will never hear this. My mom made good stuffing, but my wife's family and the recipe that she makes is a lot closer to what my dad's family always
Okay.
made. So I like that one I prefer. And here's the big question because I know that this is the weird thing on stuffing. Are you a stuffing traditionalist that's like celery, onion, breading, butter, or do you like little surprises like maybe a little bit of ground breakfast sausage in your stuffing?
You know, I'd be down to try that. We definitely do the more traditional,
Okay.
but it's not a purist thing for me. It's just that that's what it's always been. I think that the only two things that I expect out of Thanksgiving are my mashed potatoes and my cranberry sauce. I honestly don't even care about the turkey,
Okay.
as long as it's not disgusting, as long as it's not burnt, as long as it's not screwed up. But I would be down to try a more interesting or
Yeah.
gourmet stuffing. Definitely.
My wife puts in Bob Evans breakfast sausage, which
Okay.
again has if you're familiar with breakfast sausages, it's a little different than just typical, ground sausage. And I love it. It's the best. It is just hands down the best. So
You've heard it here first on Star Wars Galaxy of Thanksgiving recipes. We could just keep going.
yeah.
I'm gonna hard pivot because otherwise we'll just keep talking food, and I've got three more anecdotes I could share, and I'm gonna choose not to. I'm gonna ask you off the bat. I guess we have. I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but it's like more tougher to talk about things or more neutral because I don't know it's really fun. Do we want to go hard hitting right away, or do we want to go into the lighter stuff, or do we want to end light? What do we want to do today?
Let's get into the hard stuff because I think it's going to lead to talking about IG90 because
Okay.
I'm viewing IG90 in a very specific lens right now,
Okay.
and yeah,
Okay, so we have Coliseum. Coliseum just came out about a week ago. We both had about a week to play with it. You spent a little bit towards it and kind of worked with the
yeah,
system a little bit more than I did. I spent about $20 overall outside the episode pass. I played with it a little bit. I got to see it done on some whale accounts and play with it a little bit on some whale accounts. We did just get an update. And I will stress that right now. I know we also both had time to play with the update. The
yeah,
update does change one very major point in Coliseum, which is there's no more one damage hard
yeah,
stops, which we both got to play with. I
yeah,
think we both agreed beforehand that our ideas on the system itself haven't changed too much, but I wanted to put that out in front that as we talk about this and tomorrow morning people roll their eyes and say these guys don't know what they're talking about. What are your thoughts about Coliseum as it is when you started in its current state?
Yeah. So I want to talk about it maybe a little bit more of what the three things that I thought we were getting.
Okay.
And it's all tied to Coliseum. And really the three things is a new marquee structure,
Hmm.
Relic 10, and the ability to make higher level relics available to players. All right. And, and,
Yes.
and and part of that also is Relic Delta is where that sits. The first um, Relic Delta, it is what it is in PvP. It is not impactful in PvE. All
No,
right.
it
It
is
is a
not
it
very
is a
much.
I look, I'm going to actually, like, I don't like making, like, saying the big definitive lines, and I think that, I'm the firm believer of you can be critical, but you can't be cruel, and I'm going to probably walk the line up to cruel today. Um, Relic Delta in PvE is a failure because it did not do anything to shorten the amount of time in the first two phases of Rise of the Empire. And tomorrow is when we start get to the point of, like, it's a 10% bonus, so it doesn't matter. Is the
Yeah.
first. So there's no real value to that. Relic 10, uh, and I'm not upset about this, but Relic 10 is a non-starter.
Hmm.
Like, my philosophy with Relic 10 is I'm actually hoarding all of my resources in hopes that the raid is coming. So now we get into the two really interrelated topics, and that is Coliseum and the ability to take existing resources and dump them into relics.
Hmm.
All right. Now, I I logically understand that at the conclusion of this 12-week sprint, I'm going to likely be level 70 across the board.
Okay.
Um, and I say that because I think what we're finding is that level 65 free to player gate was tied more to the stars of the relic characters less than anything else. So what level 70 means is relic 5 of all of those characters.
Okay.
That means that for the next 3 months, I have to hoard 7 characters worth of resources to go from Relic 5 to Relic 9 because that was what I was doing every week the previous week. That's not fun.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point of this was it was supposed to allow me to build characters and then the release comes around, but now I have to save from that side. So, like, for me, the biggest piece is it didn't accomplish the part of the game that I wanted to dig into. On the Coliseum front, I hated. I think the easiest way to say it is I spent money to never engage with the new player experience after doing it for about 3 weeks. And I have
Yes.
to now relive that 4 times a year.
Yeah, that has been one of my biggest frustrations here, and I had said it in a video that I did right afterwards. Is one of the reasons that I don't play alts in games is I don't particularly
Yeah.
enjoy the new player experience. Not in this game, not in any game. And the first time you do it, it's new, it's exciting, so it kind of masks the tedium. But when you've
Yep.
done it, you don't
Yeah.
want to do it again. And that is definitely what I feel like doing the era system. I'm just playing as a new player. I might as well, I'm restarting my account, and I'm going to be doing that every 3 months for the next 27 years, apparently, according to
Yeah.
EA's director or whatever. I do want to disappoint you slightly. Level 70 is just gear 13. So
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
so
Even better.
so
Even
Pico's
better.
even worse, even madder.
Yeah.
I just checked. I just looked. You actually can check that in game by going to the era thing and seeing each level.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just to kind
But
of annoy you further.
I
Uh,
heard someone say that today and I took it at face value. So,
yeah,
yeah. I just, the and look, some of this you and I have kind of gone back and forth on, but for all of the rightfully all of the kudos we gave to CG for communicating Relic Delta and even going back and looking at like the character releases and as I'm the idea of like, hey, we're going to put a section in here what the intention of this ability is or why we're doing like that's great communication. A lot of this angst would have been solved if they would have said, look, the expectation is that players are going to get between level 65 and level 70, which means you're going to need to average between 5 and 6 levels a week, which means if you're sitting at level 15 at the end of loop, you're on pace.
Yeah.
All right. That like there's that piece of it, but what I think what you're seeing is a number of people that are used to being at certain points in the game because of the investment that they made, and they feel that they're falling short.
Mhm.
And the only way that they're seeing to solve that is to literally put straight cash into the system.
Yes.
Like that just feels bad. Like this is a. I get you want people to experience things new, but just lay it out.
Yeah.
Just lay it out for everyone so that we know what to expect.
They over the last couple of years now, I thought that within the game there has never been something that has been strictly 100% you have to use cash to purchase this. And I was corrected by Bodhi, one of your guild members,
Yeah,
your TB officer, not guild members.
remembers
Um,
everything. He
yes, remembers
remembers
everything.
everything.
And I heard him on Three Scoundrels last week talking about a time when I was very casual, like playing this game on my phone 5 minutes a day, where like in the Darth Maul meta, to in order to get him from 0 to 330, you needed to spend like several $1,000s in order to unlock and use him.
Yeah.
And that was the only way to do it. As far as I know, that is the only time that this game has been purely cash. And that was so long ago that I don't even remember it. Over the last, I'd say 7 to 8 years, there's always been the almost like the fake guide over in the side saying, hey, yeah, you
Yeah.
could technically do this free to play until now. Right now, it's no. Joke's on you. You do have to spend cash. There's no other way
Yeah.
around it. You can't save crystals. You can't invest crystals. You have to pay to play, and that does kind of suck. I don't know if you noticed this, and I just noticed this yesterday. But and I can't even show it in game because it's done, but in the actual marquee battle, that final tier required era level 70.
So this is where the level 70 thing came from, and I heard this I heard this from Solo Base
Okay.
on Gambit today. So the previous requirement for
Hmm.
that tier was 7-star Relic 5,
Yes.
and so where the idea of Relic 70 or level 70 came around is he said that level 70 was Relic 5 at that minimum. So it's almost like they just did a direct translation of you need Relic 5 that maps over to level 70, and they put it in the game from that side. I think that's a bug. Like I will be surprised if we see that with IG 90.
I hope
Uh,
it's a bug because even though I don't wail on characters often, that it does straight up annoy me, right? Because we talk about the game becoming more, I don't want to say free to play friendly, but cheaper to play, right? You used to have to
yeah,
spend $330 for a character, and then they dropped it down to about 130 with the week long whatever. It almost to me feels like nickel and diming and saying, oh, what you used to spend and get this thing because you had relic materials. Relic 5 was easy if you were dropping on marquees constantly.
yeah.
You now have to spend cash on this thing. So I'm hoping that that's something that doesn't stick around because it kind of puts me in a position, and I don't wail often, but where I'm saying, well, even in the situations where I might have, I think I might be less inclined to do it without the ability to do that tier. So I was a little bit annoyed by that change.
So there's a this is where I think that the communication breakdown happens. Uh, so one of the things that you pointed out, you sent me something last week where you're kind of summarizing all of the feel bad elements of
Yes.
this, and one being that when you go from tier 1 with a team of 5 to tier 2, they remove a character from your lineup. So you are now facing a tougher monster with just 4 characters.
Yeah.
And what I think is supposed to happen next week. All right. So there's 2 things. One, in the data mine, we have seen that when IG90 comes to the game, we're going to get enough resources to take him right up to level 15,
Yes.
which is effectively where free to play players are capped right now. All right.
Yes.
And what I believe is going to happen is in tier 2, you're going to keep Vader and you're going to keep Asajj and you're going to keep Ventress or Barra, excuse me. You're going to keep your Luke, and that 5th spot is going to be filled with IG90.
Yeah.
And your progress is actually going to be less tied to they let you level higher, is that you're adding 20% more damage in the environment, which then allows you to clear more tiers, which then gives you more resources, and then you take those characters up higher levels. And I think that the idea is that each tier you go up, they drop a character out, you bring in the new one on top of it. But that's a guess.
I'm assuming that that's
That's a
correct.
guess.
I know we were talking about this. I was actually walking out of a Dunkin' Donuts when you were texting me. I had my old-fashioned donut like in my mouth at the time.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that it works any other way, because otherwise, by the time you get to the top tier, you're only using Luke. What's the point of all of the other characters? So I have to believe that that is what is going to happen. I will say that with the new change that happened today, I was doing about 9% damage to each boss, 9 to 10% damage.
Yeah.
One attempt on tier 2 of about 9% damage, I'm now doing 67% damage. So Coliseum feels slightly less like a go in there, press 3 buttons, do 1 damage, then you die automatically. And it at least in early testing does feel like even at the lower levels, there's a little bit more strategy involved, which is a positive change.
Yeah. Look, I made the argument to a bunch of guildmates today that the best way to play Coliseum is you do each of the 4 bosses until you
Yeah.
hit the damage. And there literally was a ceiling. Like if you are level X, you are not going to do more than
Yes.
this level of damage. It's impossible to go past that. And I told people that when you hit that threshold, the best way to play Coliseum is to start the event and then immediately retreat, because it's fast. There's no point in hitting auto because there's nothing to be earned coming out of it from that side. I
Yeah.
think that look, clearly CG wants to put gates in the process,
Hmm.
which I'm okay with. And they put gates in the process, and if the gates are there, because if you're willing to put $20 in, every time the gate is raised, and that keeps you in the top 20 and you get more resources, great. That's a monetize it. I'm good with it from that side. But they have to explain this. Like this gets back to the people that are straight up free to play that don't see a path forward.
Hmm.
Like the only thing that and it's the levels are tied off of, there's a common material and then a rare material that you need every 5 levels.
Yes.
When you start looking at the reward structure, and the only way to get that rare material is to unlock the box at the end of the tier, but you're stuck at 2%,
Yeah.
that's stressful. Like that's stressful for people to understand that.
It's
And
very
and
tough, and especially it being a new game mode. Like if a new marquee comes to the game and we're not sure what's happening, we can look to the future, or we can look to the past rather, and we can say, all right, this is the way the structure works. We understand it. But right now, because the structure is so new, we don't have a path where we can say, okay, this happens, then this happens, then that happens. And that is kind of where this feel bad mentality comes from. And I said this, to them, and I've said this to a lot of people, and I've said it in Discord, and I've said it in guild chat. The problem is that this is kind of like season 1 of Parks and Recreation. And I don't know if you've ever saw Parks and Recreation.
oh, absolutely.
Okay, so the first season sucks. It's terrible. Those
Yeah.
first 6 episodes are god awful. They are so bad. It's amazing that they got renewed for a season 2. And if you go on Reddit or you go anywhere and people recommend that show to you, they say skip season 1. Don't watch season 1.
Yeah.
It's just that bad. First impressions are important.
Yeah.
And when you give us a system that are like right off the bat says there's nothing for you to do here, play it for 30 seconds, enjoy the stat check, and I promise you in 6 weeks it'll be fun. We go, I don't I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't have a road ahead there. I don't have a roadmap. It's not interesting. It's not incremental. It's just you go from here, you wait 2 weeks, you go to there, you wait 2 weeks, you go to there, while other players are spending tons of money and making progress and doing whatever they need to do. And it's not fun. It's not a fun ride.
Yeah. Look, I've played this game long enough to know that people get really angry about something, and then like toddlers, myself included, right now, we get tired and we stop complaining. All right, but this cycle is going to pick back up, and here's where I'm going to predict what's going to happen on December 2nd. All right, so there'll be a number of players that log into the game. They are not enlightened. They do not listen to us. All right, so they're going to log in. They're going to get IG90. They're going to take IG90 to level 16, and they're going to immediately be able to run that character up to level 25, like Luke
Yeah.
and IG90 to level 25. And they're going to be people that are going to be pissed off because, well, CG didn't tell me this. This was a nefarious plan to get me to spend money because I went to level 30 the week before and I spent cash to do that. And I would not have spent that money had I known that this is the way that the progression is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And it's going to start back up again. And this is why, look, I get you want people to experience this new, but if you give them a little bit of direction, yeah, you might have you might have cost yourself a little bit of revenue in the long run, but just think of the cycles that you're saving yourself just defending what this is.
Yes.
I it, it look, we've been over this. Like I'm fully on board with CG wants to make as much money as I will tell you right now
Of
that
course.
there is zero chance I will spend a dime on Coliseum. Like I was going into it basically in like, hey, if I need to drop an extra $20 a character to get them up to Relic 6, um, coming out of it, I'm willing to do that because that accelerates some other things that I want to do in the game.
Hmm.
I have no interest in doing it at this point because uh, for no other reason than I don't see the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, there's no value in Relic 10 right now. I still have to hoard material. So I don't see the point of doing it from that side. But a lot of that evaluation of that came from looking at like, well, what am I getting right now? I'm getting
Hmm.
nothing. So this is I don't think there's any other way to describe this than, even if in 12 months or 12 weeks we decide like, no, actually the back 6 weeks were fun.
Hmm.
This is a failure to launch.
Yes. Yes. That
This is
of
a
course.
failure to
Yes.
launch.
And that I think is definitely the problem, is that on the onset you needed to wow the players with something that was exciting, that was fun, that was interesting. I personally find that, and again, I know that Coliseum was slightly changed today. We've only had about an hour to play with it, 2 hours to play with it at this point. um, I was finding that everything was just a stat check, right? You go in, your stats,
Yeah.
boom, you press the button, okay, I get the thing or I don't get the thing. There wasn't any like strategy involved. There was nothing interesting involved. It was just, are your stats high enough? Press yes, and you're done in 10 seconds. And that goes doubly true even with the era currency thing. The, I don't even know what they're called, era challenges that started
Yeah.
today. Um, which at the, my God, so I went in today. I was very excited at 2 p.m. I go into these era challenges and I see the first tier. You get 40 fucking currency. What am
Yeah.
I going to do with 40 goddamn currency? Like, I didn't like galactic challenges, but I wasn't
Yeah.
but I wasn't against them, right? Like I was annoyed by them, but I wasn't against them. They were puzzles. They were interesting, even though I generally did not like engaging in those puzzles. I know that people did engage. I feel bad for Bit Dynasty. That's probably half of his ad revenue gone from GC challenges every 3 days. But at least it was something to think about. When you go into these
Yes.
challenges, it's just a stat check. Is your era level high enough? You win. Is your
Yeah.
era level not high enough? You lose. What do you get? 40 goddamn currency. I'm
Yep.
I where am I 40 currency if you are free to play and I go into that era shipment store, the cheapest thing is 690. The
Yeah.
cheapest thing. It is going to take you months and months and months for that specific avenue of currency to pay off.
So put that currency aside. The leveling currency. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put this in perspective. You got 56 of the leveling currency, 56 total on the second level. It takes you 1,000 minimum to go up a level. Now,
And you need to be era level
to,
like
to
25. Yeah.
yeah, right now to get from era level 15 to 25, you're having to spend, we'll call it $10. All
Yeah.
right. So $10 got you 56 currency. For $2, you can go into the store right now and buy 28,000.
Yeah.
All right. That's the disconnect between these. So I want to share another piece, and this is where, again, this is where some of my frustration is, because again, I was really excited with how they describe this idea of you can use your salvage to level up other characters.
Hmm.
So before I entered Coliseum last week, I put all of my Phoenix characters to R9
Okay.
because I like Phoenix. And this was
Hmm.
like, no, this is what the intention of this is to do. I now regret that decision because that was 7 characters that I took to R9 that I now need material to take to R9. Right now, just looking at what I need to have prepared, all right, by February 18th, I think is the date when this comes in. And this is assuming that I get to level 70. I need 140 Electrums. I need 350 Zinbittles. I need 280 Impulse Detectors, 280 Aeromags, 140 Droid Brains, 140 keypads, plus all of the signal data on top of that. Like, and I needed those things for all of the other characters regardless. Like that's not lost on me.
Hmm.
What's lost is, I think what's lost in translation is when you have to keep pace with a new R9 character every 2 weeks, it's a lot easier to track where you are on that plan.
Yeah.
Now, like now I'm having to save for retirement every 3 months. That's you gotta restock the bank. And that's, again, that's not fun. It's not fun to hold on and put in. And even here's the other one. I don't know if you saw this in the show notes because we weren't throwing these up. Uh, so I was in a bad place with some of this today. So February 18th is when these characters come into the game. All
Yes.
right. Do you know what happens between now and February 18th?
I saw that. I hope that I didn't accidentally delete that from here
Oh,
because
it's still there. I put a page break in. So
okay.
here's some of the fun things.
Okay.
All right. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, and Groundhog Day and Valentine's Day are all going to happen before I can play Lord Vader or play the new Vader. We will have a new college football playoff champion. We will have a new Super Bowl champion, and we will have the NBA and the NHL All Star games will have both been accomplished by that time. Now, that's just for players to be able to use those characters. For the masses to be able to take those characters up to 7-star. That means I did not pay $100 a character to do this. All right. Darth Vader does not become farmable until January or until July 14th. That means, in addition to that, we will have President's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Earth Day, Memorial Day, and the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States on the 4th of July. We will have not only the college football playoff, the Super Bowl, the NFL draft will be completed. The NBA and the NHL will have both started their seasons. We're effectively, these characters are not going to be available for the entire NHL season, is what
It's
this is starting to look like from this side.
I hadn't even actually even considered this when you think about, like, let's say all of these era characters, by the time they are actually farmable and usable, because I know they're going to be, yes, you
Yeah.
can take them to R5 at an earlier level now, and that's great. You can use it, but like really you can't use it because there's a stat multiplier on the
Yep.
stars and they're going to be useless. By the time these characters are farmable for many players, including myself, we are going to have 2 full sets of characters, new characters
Yeah.
released, and their kits, and they're going to be forgotten about. And we're going to go, oh, right, yeah, I have to farm these guys who, what do they do again? Because it's been 8 months
Yep.
at this point. It is a big deal, and it is a big deviation from what we are doing or what we used to do. On top of which, having when there was a new marquee and they came out and I had to level them and I had to do their abilities and I had to like bring them to relics, it was a pain in the ass enough to do one character.
Yeah.
Now I have to do that 6 times, presumably in one day if I'm a whale and I want to use them in GAC. And I have to do it within a couple of hours. So,
Yep.
if anything, CG, I am begging you, if you take anything from this era system, right now, if you go into your era system and you click on Stormtrooper Luke and you click on level up, you can select any one of these levels and it'll instantly take you there if you have the amount. I am begging you, CG, please allow me
Yep.
to do something like that with relics. Allow me to go from 0 to 7 if I really want to go from 0 to 7. Stop making me watch that 8-second stupid animation every single time, especially with these relic economy changes. Like you, I took Jar Jar to R10, not
Yeah.
like you, because you didn't do that. And I took like 6 characters to R9 and another 3 characters to R8 because I was like, this is great. I'm getting all these things faster. But it took so long. It took
Yep.
forever to watch the same animation over and over again.
It's and look, I get change is hard. I say change is hard all the time, but even minor things, and I know either we've talked about or I know a lot of people have talked about that. Look, you can't put mods on these characters, and it makes it very difficult to build. But like, I decided, all right, fine. I need a project, something to work on, so I'm going to build. I'm going to go in and I'm going to create loadouts for each one of the not loadouts, excuse me, but squads for each one of the teams, so that I can make sure that the characters that are available, like their mobs are in the right place, so I can track relic levels, like in those types of things. Oh, but guess what? You can't add to any of those squad loadouts. The character that's going
Yeah,
onto those teams, like so, all of a sudden, just like, oh well, great. Now I'll have to. It and as dumb as it sounds, like yeah, I have to rebuild it. That's not a lot of effort, but it's just that same piece of like, what's the point of looking at this right now if I can't even take a look
do
at
anything with it.
what that team really looks like. It's you know, in a if this were a normal marquee release, all right, we're in Rise of the Empire week and looking at IG90's kit because we're getting going to next week, and I would be right now. I'd be like, man, this is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to using IG90 on Hoth in 2 weeks, and I wonder if that's going to be the key to unlocking the Afra mission that's on Hoth.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be another 10 weeks before I can do that.
it's gonna be a long time.
Yeah, and it's like great. All right, so nothing. I was thinking about this the other day. The We will have 0 new characters at the next 5v5.
Yeah.
0 new characters at the next 5v5.
If nothing else, though, to play devil's advocate, and I hate playing devil's advocate. Yes, this is a desert. This is the Sahara. But if nothing else, when the era changes over, it might shake up GAC slightly more than a normal GAC shakeup. I don't know. I have no
And it
idea,
may.
but it's possible with 6 new teams available, right? Because they're all going to different teams. It's possible that there'll be a significant shakeup. There's also possible that most people are just not going to have them or care or use them or whatever else. But there is, that possibility there in the future. My question, I guess, for you, because I am always solution oriented, I am always trying to think of like, all right, CG did this thing. Well, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. I was about to say this on
Yeah.
Discord, and then I was like, wait a second, I'm recording in 15 minutes. Screw you guys. And I actually said that. I said, actually, I'm saving that for Zeta Protocol. You're going to have to watch. Outside of the whale perspective, and I know you come from the perspective of, I'll spend the money to get the characters. Outside of the whale perspective, I do see that for the majority of players, when we just look at the numbers, there is a lot of good stuff here. And I feel like this is like the community update. And the community update, everybody hated because nobody could understand it, but there was good stuff there.
Yeah.
Now, the difference here is that the community update was just back-end changes, whereas this is gameplay changes. I think the gameplay sucks. I think the gameplay is boring. I think it's just a stat check, and this is not a game mode. This is literally just a, do you have this? Yes, you can do that other thing. I think that for the majority of mid-game players, I don't want to say the system is better, because it's not. The system is boring, it sucks. But I can see a place where this system can be the better, if that makes sense.
So I will actually, I'll take the hate on this. I think that for players that still have characters at level 1 and some number of stars, that are not everybody's kind of relic 0 in their roster. I think this is a phenomenal update. I don't think it's visible right now. There's a couple of reasons why I say this. And the first is, if from this point forward, as a player, if I can guarantee that the only salvage I need is to go from gear 12 to relics, that is a net win.
Yes.
Okay. Because what that means is I can now start dumping those resources into other characters to unlock other Galactic Legends, other Journey Guide characters, other characters that actually make a meaningful impact in the game, right? I know that's hard for people to say, and I'm already hearing someone like, well, but now I can't go to Relic because that's all the salvage. Yes, but incremental progress. The other is that what I expect to be the volume of light side tokens that are coming into a common player's roster, to those people's rosters, that allow them to uplift those characters at the bottom of their roster, builds a deeper, broader roster that allows them to maybe step out of that lower level guild into some place that at minimum I can dump 13 million GP into a Rise of the Empire or something similar. Like, I think it's a massive positive in those cases.
Yes.
Now, I would not care about the gameplay of Coliseum as much as I do if CG didn't seem to imply that they were concerned it was going to be time consuming. And when they assume it's going to be time consuming, that to me implies I'm going to want to try it a few times. I'm going to want to try and be good at it. And it's not. It is literally hit auto and go on with your day.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't feel, and again, very limited interactions with the changes, right?
Yeah.
Because no matter how many times I say that, somebody in the comments is going to say, well, they changed it. I understand that. But as we've spent a week playing with the game mode as it was, it just felt like a gate. It just felt like a check.
Yeah.
Oh, you have this, you're fine. Oh, you don't have this. It was like TSA pre-check, right? Like, you either can or you can't go in that line, depending on if you have, if you paid your $50 to, because apparently that's safety. I don't know. But it's not a political podcast, right? But anyway, it didn't feel like I was playing a game. It felt like I was just going into a game mode with the character they've prescribed on the, I don't know if I said this to you or if I said it to someone else. It almost feels like an on the rail shooter, right? Like, it's already there. They're telling the story, but I have to do all of the inputs. I have to press A to jump. but they're taking me along for a ride, and the ride is not that interesting.
Do you know what it is? It's Galactic War. You just hit the button, you get some resources, and then you spend the resources at a later date. Like that's all that it is.
Yes, except
You
now
know,
you have to watch a
there's
little
no
cinematic.
reason. Yeah, yeah. I gotta watch. At least now, well, I'm not seeing the damage move much when you get to the end of the chain. I'm not seeing ones. I'm seeing, a couple thousands, and then they eventually kill me. Like that feels better than just like pew pew pew.
Yeah. Well, with the update, I will say, because I had said this to them, I said this to a lot of people. When you go in and you hit and you do a couple damage, and now you're doing one, 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 it just doesn't feel good. You don't feel
Yeah,
interested. You're so used to like relic characters and fighting actual battles. So going in, it just feels defeating.
yeah,
So far, I've only done a couple of battles in the update. It does feel a lot better. I don't want to say as a game mode, but at least as a process, because
yeah,
at least my brain is semi-tricked into saying, wait, maybe I do have to look at the strategy now. Maybe I can eke out 5 more
yeah.
percentage points. Oh, I got to 68%. Maybe I can get to 70 now, right? Let me actually try.
The the question I ask myself is, am I happier with the change, or did the lizard part of the brain get a reward and that made me happier?
That'll be the
Like,
2 weeks from now episode, right? When we've played with the
yeah,
change.
yeah. Like it's. I expect over the next 3 days, I will actually 2 of the next 3, because I did the let it run for 2 hours and cleared the Zepho guards
Yeah,
thing. But I know that I'm gonna get, another. I'll probably get another 2 or 3 levels out of just being able to go up into 3.
yeah.
Just because I'll be able to clear it from that side. Is it, and then does it immediately go back into, oh, the hit's gone, so now I go into withdrawal because I'm not seeing incremental progress. And look, if that's what it is, CG, that's how you need to fix this. Like you need to find a way to keep creeping incremental progress.
Yes. Yes. So I've said that multiple times to a bunch of people. I bought a few of the packs from 15 to 25. And what I ended up finding out is that while if you're level 1 to 15 and going free to play, you are getting incremental progress, right? Because everything in the game is tailored to your character. No matter
Yeah,
what thing you hit, you're going to get the next level. What I found was, okay, now I'm level 20, but now I'm stalled for 2 weeks
yeah,
because I'm not getting something every day. I've already gotten the boxes, so I'm not getting any new boxes.
yeah,
I'm not getting any materials that I need. My episode pass, in order to get the level 25 materials in the episode pass, you need to go all the way. It is not until the very end, if at all, at level 40. So that's like the end of the month. Uh,
yeah,
now I'm playing in empty game mode for 2 weeks. Now,
yeah,
I made some progress today because of the change. Do I know if it'll continue to increment? I don't know yet, where that remains to be seen. But I
yeah.
felt bad about the money I spent because I felt like I was stuck now. It didn't feel like I was making progress. I felt like everyone behind me was catching up to me, where the game mode should be saying, oh, you want to spend more money. I was like, I want a refund.
Yeah, it's been interesting to me, and I've poked around in a couple of places where, like, the guy that's in first on my shard is 20 levels higher than the next closest player.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, well, one, I don't believe you get any extra resources for finishing first.
No,
So,
first to 10 is the same.
and again, part of this is people are going to have to figure out how they run the system. But are you really happy with running an additional 20 levels
Yeah.
coming out of like that? That was cash that you spent. And again, maybe some of these people don't like. For me, the what's really interesting is looking at the people that are putting money into the system right now are significantly lower GP players than what I would have expected.
Yeah.
And unless you're going to be using all of that era currency to buy light speed tokens, you are wasting your money.
I will say, I do happen to know a lot of within the last year new whales. And that's exactly what I told them to do. And these are people that I could tell them don't spend any money and they won't listen to me anyway. So I'm just going
Yeah.
to tell them how to spend that money. And I have said, look, Relic 10, it's great. You're going to need it eventually. At some point, you're going to need it. But right now, you are better spent being at the top of that Coliseum leaderboard and just buying those tokens so that you can
Yeah.
catch up your roster. And that kind of brings up, I hope maybe is my last point on Coliseum, is I can see there being some method if you get lucky, because there is some RNG to your shard, right? Like you
Yeah.
have seemingly one pretty big whale. My shard right now, we're going to take a quick look, leaderboard. It looks like there's 2 semi-major whales and about 5 pretty big whales, not too major. Um, if you get lucky in a shard and you spend a lot of money on the first marquee, you can dominate that leaderboard for 2, maybe 3 weeks, get a ton of currency
Yeah.
to do things with, and that pays for those lightspeed tokens for you.
Yep.
And then just kind of ignore Coliseum for the rest of the point and sit at 20 and get 500 for the rest of the Coliseum. I could see that being a worthwhile strategy, but you have to get lucky with your shard.
Yeah. So I don't have another point I want to make. I do have a question, and I don't. I'm not expecting you to answer it right now. What happens to Coliseum if instead of the idea is that they really want to average, they want people to average 5 to 7 levels a week, to we're going to let people get to 65 by week 6, and then nothing happens in the back half of that.
Yeah.
I wonder if, again, faster leveling, I feel like I'm actually doing damage. I'm going to hit a cap, and then I'm just going to look in the back half of this. I just go in and I hit sim, and I do that for 6 weeks. Uh, I just wonder if that's not received better. Because I I will agree with the statement. I think that I think it's fair that they are putting a cap in the system that you are not going to cross unless you are willing to contribute cash. I Yes, that's the nature of these games. But if they let people hit that faster, one, does it cost spend? And two, do people feel better because they've at least I've hit the threshold and I know that when this is released, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
I think I think that if so an era is what? There's 6 characters, so 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
I think that the cutoff for when you can say a free to player is cut off, where it won't feel terrible, is probably around the 9 to 12 or 9 to 10
Okay.
week mark. I think if you max out at 6 weeks, then you have 6 weeks of doing nothing and it feels like shit.
Okay.
If you say that a semi mostly engaged player will take 12 weeks, but the very highly everyday player will take 10 weeks, I think that that's reasonable. And how do you do that? Maybe the increment is not every 10%. Maybe the increment is every 5%. You get your
Yeah.
dopamine hit. And then boom, those gates can be a little bit more restrictive because you don't have to go as far to get to the next gate. But I think if
Yeah.
there's too much time, then it will become problematic. And I think that the one thing that they haven't solved here is, as a business, they want me to spend money and want to spend more money. And I don't feel like that's meeting the need or the goal right now. And I already know, I mean, my guild is losing 3 players. They're pissed off enough where
Yeah.
they're quitting. And 2 of those players are major whales that spend more in a month than I make in a month. Like,
Yeah.
where else is that happening, that people are getting fed up? And maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe there's enough newer whales spending on Coliseum where CG's like, I don't give a shit. But I'm seeing that, and I'm sure that other guilds are seeing that as well.
I think there are a number of people. So Maul comes in a month.
Yeah.
Spiderlegs Maul comes into the game in a month. I think there's a number of people that are going to make a decision when that happens to see what it looks like at that point to
Mhm.
make it a determination of whether they're staying or going.
What I will say is that going back to the community update and going back to any major update, in my experience, CG generally gives us a very bare bones, not so great, not so interesting experience. And they do make significant progress typically. Unfortunately, because an era is 3 months and not a month, it's unlikely we're going to see significant changes until
Yeah.
the next era. I am very negative on this patch right now. I am slightly more positive, hesitantly, because of the change tonight. And in 2 weeks, we can broach that topic and decide if that was really a meaningful thing. I do see Coliseum being in a better place in 3 months when the next era comes out. And I know that even though the beta is not going on, the beta conversations are still happening, and they're very hard conversations. And I'm not saying CG is listening to us, but I am saying at least they're hearing us, and
Yeah.
maybe some of that's going through. So I am hopeful that we'll see a cool system. It's just not there yet.
If they hear anything, I get we shouldn't expect to see major changes until mid-February. They need to tell us what's going on January 1st.
I would
This is what
agree.
our intended changes are going to be. Like
I would
this
agree.
is communication time.
And they did that with early conquest, where they said, look, we can't
Yes.
shut down a conquest in progress, but we hear your feedback. This is what we're going to do. Right. I think
Yeah.
that if they say, we hear you, we cannot shut this down, we can't change it, we can't do whatever, that fine, I don't care. But these are some of the changes that we're expecting to make in the next era. I
Yeah.
think that it would go a long way. And maybe they don't have all of the answers yet, but at least to say, hey, here's some things that we're toying with. We're listening to all of this feedback. We're looking
Yeah.
at the systems. We do want to make changes to make it better for everybody while also wanting to make money. But of course, you don't say that part, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, with all of the negativity, again, I don't know if it's really positive, but it's at least neutral. In order to keep to our normal timeline, I feel like we do have to segue into IG90,
Yeah.
IG90. Um, I'm going to pull that up on my screen. I know that you have a summary for us. Do you want to read that?
I will.
Okay.
So part of the reason why I wrote the summary is like I'm really excited about this character. Like
Okay.
I've been a fan of the Doctor Aphra comics. When
Hmm.
those first came out, I thought they were a great run. I really love that team. It has been a team that I have enjoyed using for a period of time. Um, so I was excited when it was released. So I've been kind of reading into it. Honestly, I think I did a better job than GPT actually summarizing this kit. Like I think it's broken down. So there's a couple of things before we jump in
Okay.
to understand with the kit. So the first is IG90 is a droid, support, bounty hunter, scoundrel, dark side, and a leader.
So
Okay.
he's going after Django for most tags in the game.
He is. He is. Now there are two things on this though, because in the comics, IG90 was a bounty hunter, so it's a bounty hunter in this. All bounty hunters are leaders. All right. I
Yep.
will tell you, I read the leader ability. We're not even going to talk about it because he will never be a leader in the game. Is really what it comes down to.
So
So,
it's kind of like a
the
figurehead thing, right? Like all banner hunters have it, so we might as well just give him one.
yeah,
Okay.
he's just going to have one. Like Percent has a leader ability.
No one's
He
ever used
doesn't
it.
actually he doesn't use it. The other big thing is he is very specifically designed to go under Dr. Aphra. So the way that this is
Yeah.
going to work is we'll talk about the abilities, and then this is what specifically happens under Dr. Aphra. So um, there is a basic,
Okay.
there is a special, and there is a unique.
Okay.
That's all his kit is, because the other is a leader, and it's the payout ability, and again, those don't matter. So basic, deal damage twice and inflict defense down.
Okay.
Real simple. All right. Under Aphra, a couple of things happen, and this gets interesting later in the kit. So under a Dr. Afra lead, it grants 2 heal over times, it grants 2 damage over times, and then immediately triggers those to happen. So I apply 2 heal over times, and then both of those heal over times go off and heals the team. 2 damage over times, and those immediately trigger and go off on the other side. And then the other option, and this is where it gets interesting, is he forces taunt on Dr. Afra's summoned robot.
Okay.
So the tank in this kit, like it was originally when they said it was going to be a tank, that the assumption was like, oh, this is no, it's a support character. So it actually turns the summon into a tank. It essentially turns it into Geo Brute Alpha's summon is really
Yeah.
what it looks like at that side. So real simple. Do damage twice, defense down, grant heal over times, grant damage over times, trigger him, then force the other guy to taunt. And we'll see in here, there's a bunch of ways that taunt's going to happen, right?
Okay.
Basic, pretty straightforward. Special one, deal AE damage and trigger all damage over times. All right, so that matters because like BT1 generates a bunch of damage over times. There's a bunch of characters that generate a bunch of damage over times. Uh, the other piece, sorry, this is where ChatGPT is better than I am because it's not all over the place. Remember that Dr. Afra's kit is based around the idea of siphoning potency,
Yes.
and potency she does more damage with the more potency that she has. So every time he's adding 2 damage over times with his basic ability, she's getting more potency. She does more damage. Is kind of the loop that happens there. So special one, deal AE damage and trigger all the damage over times that are currently on all of the enemies, and mark the target of the ability that you were targeting as part of that. Again,
Okay.
really straightforward. Under Dr. Alpha lead, you call all allies to assist, which is always great. All allies recover 20% health and protection and gain offense up as part of that. So again, they're a massive damage team, so that's great. And then again, you force Dr. Afra's droid to taunt. So 2 abilities, both of them forces the taunt that happens in that case. The unique, this is where it gets a little wonky. So IG90 has 100% counter, and all droids have 50% crit avoidance.
Okay.
So this matters because remember, every time that 90 uses his basic, it forces the droid to taunt.
Yes.
So
So he's
he's
constantly
going to be
taunted.
shooting a lot, taunt, 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 taunt. When IG90 is damaged, inflicts speed down on a random enemy. All right. At the start of the encounter, Dr. Afra gets 200% defense until she has 50 siphon, which the strategy used against Dr. Afra teams are you kill her and then the team falls apart, is the way that
Yeah.
works. So it makes it a little bit harder for that to happen. There's actually something that in the Territory Wars piece that I think I included here, maybe I didn't. Um, and then when IG90 recovers health, like from their basic because of those damage over or those heal over times trigger, inflict 3 stacks of damage over times on the healthiest enemy. So
Okay.
that basic is put 2 dots on the target, you heal, and then put 3 dots on the healthiest enemy that happened on the other side. Uh, Now, when Dr. Afra's droid taunts, it gains 100% bonus protection. So hey, every time 90 counters, 100% bonus protection goes back on the droid. That sounds like a really tanky
So it's going to be
character.
tanky whether, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you don't have to put tank stats on Afra, like is actually one of the interesting pieces there. And then under her lead, all allies gain 100% protection. Again, makes it harder to take those characters out. When an ally criticals, they gain speed up. So BT1's going all the time. And then when a marked enemy is damaged, scoundrels and droids gain 5% offense, stacking up to 80%.
So on top of
Now,
the potency and
on top
BT1.
of the potency, BT1, you can get to 12,000 offense
Okay.
without trying. And he's a pretty beefy character as it is from that side. So you add an extra 80% on top. Actually, and I think he doubles his offense anyway.
Okay. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think he doubles his offense, and then you add another 80% on top of that. He's just gonna hit like that. That's the kind of the trick of the guy. So
At the start of battle, BT1 gains 100% offense. Yep.
yes, So
Yeah.
he's now gaining 180% offense is what that turns into. So good times, man. Like that's good times.
I want to offer one
That
quick thing just
yeah.
because I don't want to yell that. It is 100% bonus protection to the team, not
Okay.
100% protection.
Got it.
Just so
Yep.
that we're still
Bonus
going to get
protection.
yelled
Yeah.
at, but bonus protection.
Yeah. Look,
But
like ChatGPT, I cut some words out. Like that's the reality. Big picture, folks. Big picture.
that's why we have
Um,
the fact checker here, right? You do all of the work, and then I just read
yeah,
it and
yeah.
say you're wrong. That's how it works.
So and then Territory Wars Omicron. We'll see whether this actually matters or not. But when Dr. Afra has 200 siphon and IG90 uses special one, IG90 and Dr. Alpha recover 40% health and protection, and they gain 30% offense stacking. Now, normally she'll be over 200% siphon after BT1's first turn because he's going
Yeah,
to open with his AE, and then normally you're sitting at like 265 at that point. So um, when IG90 is defeated, refresh Dr. Afra's cooldowns, which is great because then Dr. Afra then revives IG90
yeah.
is the idea there. There's a bunch of buffs that they get through the whole process. I think it's like crit up, crit damage up. And then when Dr. Afra has more than 50 siphon, everyone gets to ignore taunt.
Which is basically
Is
right
the other
away,
piece. Yeah,
almost right away.
the, she'll have over 50% siphon after she uses the second special, which puts oh, what's the ability that prevents taunt? And
We can look.
it's not terror. It's the one that Malgus uses.
Doubt.
Doubt. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So when she puts doubt up, she puts 5 copies of doubt up, and that'll pop her up over 50 right there. So that's IG90's kit. I think it's really cool. I love this team. I'm really excited to use it in months.
I've always liked the Dr. Aphra team. It's one of those teams. It's kind of like the Gungans for me. Now that their raid is out, and I do like roster reviews, and I talk to people about their rosters, and I'm like, man, I really want to recommend Gungans because they're so much fun and I love them, but I hate the fact that I can't because not that they're
Yeah.
useless, they're a good team, but there's so many other better things. And that's always been Aphra. Like I love the team.
Yeah.
It's a great team, but it's the last journey you do because it gives you the least out of anything else.
Yeah.
So I am kind of enjoying the idea of in 9 months I will be able to play with this team a little bit more and it not just be this glass cannon thing, you know, like I don't know how many
Yeah.
characters are going to come out between now and then where I will it even matter. But I am maybe this character and Yoda and Chewbacca, Buddy Cop Chewbacca are probably the two that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah. The thing for the Afro team, and I don't know where a lot of people sit with this, but there are forced missions with her on day 1, 2, 4, and 6, I think, or phase 1, 2, 4, and 6 are typically where those are.
Yeah.
She does really, really well on Dathomir, um,
And
just
on
because BT1 can
and
clear
on day
that really
one,
fast.
I do Afra and 3 Rays. I don't even use
Yeah,
the Afra team. I do
yeah.
Afra, 3 Rays, and Finn. Like it's
I
not.
know. Yeah, we've got somebody in the guild who will tell you, on Dathomir, you know, use Afra, use BT1, use 000, and then whatever, you know, separatist droids that you
Yeah,
have,
I
ready
use
to go from that
I
side.
use Afra, BT1, Darth Vader, General Grievous, and
Yeah,
HK-47. Right? Like it's just this mishmash of teams that only works
yep,
because Dathomir keeps reviving.
yeah,
It's not interesting.
yep,
It's not fun. It's not exciting. I enjoy exciting teams, and I will say this comes full circle to the beginning of our episode talking about TB. Uh, I did TB phase 1 for the first time in months. It took me 50 minutes, which is about average. I didn't really save much time at all. There were very few things that I noticed in terms of time management. The only team that I noticed killed things considerably quicker, my Gungan team, is Relic 10 Jar
yep,
Jar, Relic 9, everything else. I was killing the light side clones so quickly that I couldn't kill the boss was the only thing left, and I couldn't kill the boss because he didn't have the 3 stacks left.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So and that was fun. It was silly. No other team had any noticeable change, even Relic 8, Relic 9 teams, but that was a fun moment for me. And this is a fun moment team when it's used correctly.
It's funny. I always start with I always go left to right on that map, and I always start with the Vader as the first one that I do.
Yes.
It still took me 3 ultimates to beat Kenobi on auto. Like,
Yeah.
it's the as soon as that happened, I'm like, "All right, this isn't gonna be what I want it to be."
As I was doing it, I was like, oh, right. Lord Vader hits like a wet noodle until he's ramped.
Yeah,
This is still going to take
yeah,
the same amount of time for him to ramp. It's going to take
yeah,
forever. I will say that I was a proponent, and I spoke a lot about this in videos, and I spoke a lot about this in the beta discussions. Was that the first day, the first version of Relic Delta was not player friendly at all. It was very toxic. It did not spark any joy in me. But those numbers looked exciting for TB. There definitely should have been PvE numbers and PvP
yeah,
numbers because you can
yeah,
have sillier numbers in PvE. You can play with that and let the player play feel powerful. Why do you
yeah,
play Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4? Because Spider-Man's like the strongest Marvel character in the universe. The game isn't hard, but you have that power fantasy of this amazing character and you have fun beating the shit out of things. Right? Let
yeah,
us do that. Don't let us sit in a battle and go, oh, it's going to take 15 minutes.
yeah,
Okay, this is going to take a long time. There's a lot of bonus protection and revives and heals and taunts. This is taking forever. I'm not having fun here.
yeah. Iden still nuked young Lando off the map, despite the fact that he is R8 and she was an R6 character.
I
You know?
didn't want to try because I have that new guild member and I needed to win that battle. But I
Yeah,
really wanted to see if I could auto that battle. And I was like, I can't do it. I need to win this battle. I have to do it the boring
yeah.
way and hit auto basic and wait 10 minutes and do the whole thing.
My again, not to bring this back to negative, but my frustration right now is, and I tried this before, and I'm just not willing to try it now, but because of all of the other bonus or the special missions, I have an R9, Kira, L3, Vandor Chewie, and Young Han,
Yeah.
and I tried the Phase One special mission with some of the smugglers in it, and I couldn't beat it.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that with this change, I would be able to, because I like to use, and I don't see it happening,
Yeah.
So
I will say the one nice thing I think for some players, and I know that they're noticing this, just to be fair, in the raid, some of the shit tier teams have been doing a little bit more.
yep,
So
yeah.
that is a nice fair thing. I guess my final question here is for did you play GAC this week actively or no?
I did the first day. The second day, I lagged out
Hmm.
on Slicker versus Hondo, and I didn't try. And then the third one, I was 7 and I ended up 7-2. So it was a case
Okay.
of, on the third one, I'm just like,
In
I'm burned out. So
in the first one, did you happen to notice anything weird with Relic Delta or no? Did it feel
I
like it was
didn't,
working right?
so
I know it's a
I
loaded
didn't notice
question.
anything in the first match. From the ones from the end of the week last week where it came in,
Yeah.
um, in that one, there was a gap between the last two opponents that I played, and I haven't gone back and looked, but we both dropped 2 fights, but I won by 25 banners, and to me, what I think happened in that case, if I just look at their roster, they likely bled banners because of R5 going against R8 and R9
Yeah, yeah.
characters.
Okay.
Um,
So,
like
but so
that's my takeaway of where that gap was.
that's Relic Delta working as intended, obviously.
Yes.
The reason that I'm asking is, right off the bat, I clocked and I don't know if this is true. This is my conspiracy theory. I personally don't think Relic Delta is working as intended.
Okay.
And one example that I saw myself that personally, I was like, whoa, this is weird. A few nights ago, last match of the week, I stayed up with one of my members and I helped him through his GAC, and we were doing R5, full R5 triad team, no Omicron on Talon, and we were going against a quad mate team, R9 quad mate,
Yep.
R9 lover boys, R8 Keller and Beck, and R7 Anakin. And I remembered him using Talon's second special ability on a completely full health Master Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yep.
And not only deleting Qui-Gon Jinn from the board, but also deleting the Keller and Beck. So these are RD negative
Yeah.
3 and RD negative 4s. I've never seen Talon do that ever. Ever.
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen. And that to me was like, okay, I don't know. I was just curious if you had seen anything, because I am almost positive that there's something weird going on.
And I read your Reddit post, and then I ran across Fatals that he put out there as well.
Yeah,
And I
see,
think
I
this
got
is the
Fatal convinced.
yeah.
If Fatal is a very, very meticulous person. He's more meticulous than I am, and I have him convinced.
But I think that, like, what I saw in his thread that he had out there, like, this is the challenge with it, is I thought that people were engaging fairly with him, like they were
Mhm.
trying to provide him feedback, and I think a lot of them probably don't know who he is, which is even better. But um, the it's like, oh well, I saw A, B, C, and D, and Fatal going like, yeah, but that's expected because you're forgetting about like this mechanic that
Yeah.
caused like that. That's so like a lot of this now becomes really difficult to, if there is issues, to debug,
Yes.
because you have to have that encyclopedic knowledge of those kits to understand where some of these interactions are.
And so on day one, when and again, I don't know if it's true. I don't like being a conspiracy theorist. I'm very empirical evidence based. On day one, when I was like, I don't think this is working, even though him and I don't talk, he was
Yeah,
the first person that I DM'd, and I was like, hey man, are you noticing anything weird? And you're right, because you're going off of secondhand information, off
yeah,
of people who don't know the game very well. But this is why I think he's the perfect person for it, because he is meticulous and he
yeah,
knows everything, and he knows if something looks right or looks wrong or looks off. But I have personally seen a couple of things that I have been I don't know. So I was just curious if you had seen anything. I'm, again, to anyone listening, not saying something is bugged. I literally have no idea, but I am very close to certain.
yeah. I'm going to keep a closer eye towards it, although it's going to be 3v3, and I mean that's
And it's also, yeah, we got to
not
wait 10 days. So,
yeah. Um, but my experience is the good players were still able to do the things that they want to do,
yeah.
but they bled,
Hmm.
and that's gonna be the gap between the two. And this may not be a popular opinion, but um, the guy that I had a 3 million GP advantage on, I should win. I,
Yeah.
I should win. I mean, that's uh, yeah, that's going to create striation, but I should win that.
I will say to kind of, because you kind of said something that brought me to my own idea of how I'm going to approach my roster, and then we can finish up to try to keep on our own
Yeah,
timeline. But I have a 14 million account. I know you have a 15 plus million account. We're at the very tip of the spear, very end game players, and I
yeah,
was trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing with my roster, and I'm realizing now R6, R7 material, R1, R2, R3, all the way to 7 is not really that big of a deal anymore because of how much of it I'm getting. So I kind of realized, hey, flawed signal data is going to be my huge gate. Even Relic 8 and Relic 9 material is a huge gate for me now. It wasn't before because I
yeah,
was held back by Electrium conductors, and now I'm not.
yeah,
So I started to realize, you know what? My first project needs to be, let me bring all of my Relic 0 characters to Relic 3, because that takes no flawed signal data, right? I can
yeah,
build up my flawed signal data. Then I'm going to take those Relic 3s to Relic 7, or Relic 0 to Relic 4, then my Relic 4s to Relic 7, because I'll have the flawed signal data and I can continue to build up my impulse
Yeah.
detectors, right? And then I can bring up all of those key tunes that I'm noticing need to go a little higher.
Yeah.
I can bring them to 8 and 9 because I have the material. So there's like this meticulous plan of almost a staircase effect of kind of
Yep.
building out. And I know your
Yeah.
roster is like all Relic 8 and 9. You're like, oh, you peon, but that's my
But
plan.
that's literally how I got there. Is
That,
that
yes.
I look, I used to call them the projects, the G12 project,
Yes.
the R5 project, the R7 project, the R8 project.
Yes.
The problem that I'm facing right now is, and we talked about this, and again, I don't know if it's just because I'm just down on the game right now. I'm not gonna do an R9 project. Like I'm asking myself, what's the point?
Yeah.
I need CG to help me understand what the point is right now.
Yes. And that's where the communication comes from.
Yeah.
100%. And I really do hope that it's coming. And I hope it doesn't wait till January. I hope before they go on their holiday, they say, hey, we hear you.
Yeah.
Here's our game plan. I really hope they don't leave us in the dark for a month while we're left wondering. I
Yeah.
really hope after Thanksgiving, during that 2 weeks where they're still around, that they give us something. And
Yeah.
that would be really, really nice. Um, Speaking of something, we are getting triple drops on Friday. So I don't know if you saw that yet.
Okay.
We are getting triple drops. It's going to be, I don't know, a distraction, but that is what it is.
We are also getting Nightfall on tomorrow, and we are getting
The era battle?
uh, the Era Battle. Nightfall comes back in like 18 hours, and Crimes Against the Republic comes back in the next couple of
Oh
days as well. It's
shit!
just not in it's not in the view all the way out.
You buried the
So
fucking lead. This is beautiful. I know
yeah, yeah.
I'm showing it on my screen, but it's not actually on my screen. It is here. That is
Yeah, but
R9 R. Oh my god, I love that.
so
CG's trying to get on my
we
good side.
didn't get into this because I didn't want to keep piling on, but I am frustrated by the lack of era battles because I think that I do think that we are losing resources over the next couple of months because of this. But if their answer is that we're gonna replay the Nightfall and Crimes and Pirates, in that as a bridge until we can kind of get into this motion
Yeah,
of kind of
yeah.
backfilling the whole. I'm 100% on board with that. So
Yeah, so I will leave with my final thought here is that yesterday when you and I were talking, I kind of had that epiphany of, oh yeah, we are in a desert where there's 3 months before an era battle and we're losing those resources. This is not a bad way to do
yeah,
that. I'm
yeah,
hoping that's what this is. I'm hoping this is not just an anniversary thing for a few days. That would
yeah.
be a great way to bridge that 3 month gap. So that's kind of I didn't even realize, and now I'm super excited because I'm taking a bunch of characters because I have to get the highest wave count in my guild this TB.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Give us these three that we have right now every other week. That's a nice bridge until we can get back into an era battle cadence that kind of aligns with where we need to be.
with
So
where we're supposed to be. Yeah.
yeah,
So we are hitting right on the mark. So with that, I will say we've done it right. Like we thought we were a 60-minute show. We're technically an
yeah,
88-minute show, and that's great. It's awesome. Thank you guys for listening, watching, sharing, whatever you do. I don't give a shit if you get this far. I appreciate it. And Pico, if you have anything to say,
look, it's 2 days before Thanksgiving, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who continues to listen and giving us a chance to talk about this. And make sure you get some time to spend some time with friends and family. Watch the Lions, and folks, if you're bored on Saturday afternoon at noon, just remember Scarlet and Gray is such a beautiful color set. All right, Jeremiah Smith, Julian Sayin, Caleb Downs, the defense, just come on board the Buckeye train. All right, we'll bring everybody. We are inclusive. Come join the Buckeyes.
if we end up getting into college football, I will broach the subject of being Buckeye fans. I promise I will
Oh,
try. I will try. I will try. I will
send me
try.
your address. You're getting a T-shirt.
I will try. If we ever get on the college football train, I will try for you. I promise. Um, but with that said, everybody, he said it first. I completely forgot. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with your family. If you're British, screw you. If you DM me on Thursday, screw you. But otherwise, have a great holiday.